Will $40 million rosters save the SEC from the Big Ten's dominance? Does the schedule need to change? And what are they going to do to Indiana, really? We will discuss that on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin, neutral arbiter of all things college football, of course. Trent Condon of Locked On Hawkeyes is here with Isaiah Hull of Locked On Wolverines. He does indeed exist. How about that? Roman Tomashoff, Locked On Huskies is here. Zach Sako, Locked On Nittany Lions. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. Craig Sheeman of Locked On Big Ten, and maybe the most watched video at our network, maybe? I don't know. We'll have to do a little deep dive on that. And Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. The Indiana guys are next to each other. That's too much Indiana back to back. We're gonna switch that around a little bit. But Trent, I want to start with you. You love money and NIL conversations as much as anybody, I sense. Apparently, there are some $40 million rosters out there in college football. The On3 article mentioned the SEC. Zach Sako mentioned air quotes. Is this going to save the SEC from our conference's obvious and clear superiority and dominance?
Doesn't
I
Oregon
really don't
have
think
one?
so. I mean, Penn State.
Trent Stocking.
Doesn't Ohio State have? Ohio State has one. Oregon has one.
Well, Sako, we'll get to you. Trent.
We're going off topic here. Money doesn't solve everything, as we learned last year with Penn State, which was the most expensive roster in college football. Allegedly, a year ago, what did it get them? Well, a 6-6 record and a fired coach. So it's not money alone. You have to be able to. You have to be able to spend the money wisely. And with LSU, Lane, he's doing work in the portal and doing the thing. But do we think that guy's going to win a national championship at least right away? I still need more proof of concept out of him as a coach in games and big games before I'm going to believe that. So LSU can go out and spend $40 million, and somebody, unfortunately not my Hawkeyes, will win another national championship next year.
Sako, you seem very eager to jump in. You also, I feel like we're doing the meme of the guy who's surprised to be called upon, which is perfect because you're wearing like the exact same sweatshirt.
Great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Then I fit the role perfectly. Most expensive. It was Ohio State, Oregon. Where are we getting? Penn State had the most expensive roster from. They had the most expensive defensive coordinator, sure, but how does Penn State have the most money spent last year when they're at 29 million, give or take, for this season? So where'd that money go?
Trent, I believe that was directed at you.
This is news to me. I didn't know that Penn State had that kind of money. This is fantastic.
I'm going off of something from last summer that I read, I don't know, 9 months ago. I don't know. It was,
you know who didn't have the most expensive roster? Indiana, and we won the title anyway.
They won the national championship. And the year previous, Ohio State had it, but they won. I just said Penn State sucked last year. That's all it is. You can accept that, Zach.
By the way, Trent,
we're not
I'd like
talking
to
wrestlings, but
I'd like to point out, Trent, you sold them short. Penn State went 7-6 last year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not 6-6.
I can't talk as much because Iowa beat Penn State, so I don't really have any. Wrestling different. We'll go at it in a separate conversation about wrestling. But when it comes to football, I got nothing other than
Isaiah. I think we'll
about that.
I think we'll keep it football here. My wrestling knowledge is a little bit scarce. I don't know about yours, but is this going to be the way? Is it LSU that's going to make the great SEC title game comeback?
It's just well, first I think that we need to talk about wrestling. I'm kidding. I know nothing of it because I actually, know football's king. But anyway, the thing about it is you look at what the old order used to be with the bag man. The SEC was just getting all of the 5 stars essentially. Ohio State would maybe get like a couple, but it wasn't even like what Ohio State has become, where they're getting usually like 5 or whatever. Maybe Michigan would get 1, but you always knew that like Alabama, LSU, Georgia, you always knew that they were going to get the bulk of the talent. Regardless of how much they spend now, they're going to be overspending because some of those guys that they were going to get are still going to go to other schools now because other schools can pay them. So they no longer have that monopoly on talent. So no, it's not going to save them. And no, Lane Kiffin, listen, I know some coaches that work directly from Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is more, I listen, I like Lane, but he is more interested in how cool he looks. And you can see that on Twitter. And this is coming from a coach that worked for him directly. More interested in how cool he looks than about winning anything. This is just him doing whatever it is that he does, I guess.
Roman, you look like you need to sit on a phone book over there, but go ahead. You can jump in.
You know, you were talking right before we got on here about relaxing, so I'm having a great time over here.
Yeah.
Because I'm exhausted because I have to deal with you on the show after Jacob Goins did a tremendous job last week.
I gave you a break from me last week. I gave you like one of the 2 shows I missed all year last week. Is that not enough?
No, I'm just saying that wasn't enough of a break for some of us. Is there a football question in there? I don't.
Yeah, how do you feel about $40 million rosters?
Lane Kiffin almost took Damon Williams from you. Let's start there.
No.
Seiko makes a good point.
I heard Washington say that their quarterback didn't try to leave and he wasn't going anywhere.
That never happened. That never happened.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't heard a single thing about that.
The funny thing about that jab is Damon is not even denying any of it, and there's no way to deny it because we all know that he doesn't really want to be there, but he's there because, well, he's going to get sued.
If we want to go the Damon Williams route with this whole thing, I think the best way to talk about this Big Ten superiority conversation where this started before we got into wrestling and wherever else this might have gone is the Big Ten is what Jed Fish was saying earlier today is what really helped in this conversation because of the contract and the wording after the Xavier Lucas situation and he left for Miami. So I think that one of the biggest things when it comes to money, as I think about this from the Damon Williams standpoint, is because I'm always going to think about these things from how they've related with UW in this very interesting era where I'm curious to see where things go from here because the way that Jed Fish specifically will always talk about a lot of these things is how he wants to pay and retain these guys. And he's been on record saying, if we don't have the most expensive roster, that's okay. We're going to go in, we're going to not overpay for these freshmen and then try to bring them back and, give them raises as sophomores and juniors and take an NFL approach, whatever that means with these things nowadays. And I'm curious to see if more programs are going to follow that suit, try to retain these guys year after year after year when so many of these top quarterbacks especially are just bouncing around from program to program.
Craig, with your newfound fame and likely wealth as well, are you bankrolling these rosters at $40 million?
Yeah, I was thinking about taking the rest of the week off, but no, I won't do that.
Take the rest of the month off.
Does anybody else find the irony that this conversation started with the SEC going, gosh, we got to start spending some big money on football players. That's
first
rich.
time.
But I'll spin off of what Isaiah said that, now they're going to overspend for guys. And I'll give you an example in basketball. I think in basketball, there's 5 schools that are spending north of $10 million on their rosters. 2 of them are the Big Ten. One's Michigan, one's Indiana. Michigan's getting its money's worth. Indiana has way overspent just to put 12 guys in uniform, and they're not very good at all. So you got to be careful about getting in a financial arms race.
Yeah, what is the basketball record there in Bloomington?
It's getting closer to 500 every day.
We don't need to talk about
500? Gosh, no. I would kill for 500 right now.
I think we got 17
Washington's
wins,
at exactly 500, yeah.
Still on the bubble, baby.
Penn State beat Washington.
That was unnecessary. That was over a week ago.
Yeah, Oregon beat Penn State. Just got to throw that one out there.
Washington beat Oregon to complete this trifecta.
That's going to change. That's going to change later.
Hey, Oregon,
they'll win the rematch.
Oregon beat USC. Where I haven't seen Mark since. You probably rub it in.
Yeah, it's because we sent him back into his turtle shell. Jay, I imagine there's no. I imagine there's no concern in Buckeye Land about any such money problems.
No, and Roman made a good point about the NFL style of paying players. Ryan Day's been very stubborn about trying to have a cap on his incoming freshman, how much he's going to pay him. Now, there are going to be guys that you have to pay a little bit more for, and Chris Henry Jr., because they are that good, and Jeremiah Smith as well. But Ryan Day's taken that model, but also he's been very open about, well, you're not going to overpay you when you're a sophomore, when we can go to a portal and get somebody that's better than you and play a little bit. I think the portal guys are trying to demand a lot of money, and eventually that's going to stop. I don't see these portal guys being able to demand so much and having rosters be $40 million and spending $38 million. I don't see it continuing because eventually the money isn't going to be there. And while you're spending a $40 million roster now, down the road, that may not be the case because the money is going to dry up.
You would think, but then again, Big Ten schools are getting like up to $90 million a year just from the media deal. So I think there's a decent amount. Goins, why don't you take us home on this conversation?
I mean, Indiana proved you don't have to spend $40 million on a roster to win national championships. You can compete with good players. Doesn't have to be great.
One national championship, not championships.
More to come.
Plural.
More to come. But seriously, it still comes down to coaching and execution. Doesn't matter how much you pay the guy. You still have to have a good team and still good chemistry and execute when it matters the most. And I think we're seeing that with some big teams at the top of college football who haven't performed when it matters the most. So, yeah, pay $40 million all you want, but you still got to win the games.
Yeah. When we get back, we're going to talk about something that the Big Ten needs to change, but I don't know that they will because Indiana has shown us the way.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. South Carolina rolled past Ole Miss 85-48 to clinch a share of the SEC regular season title and lock down the number 1 seed in the conference tournament. The Gamecocks extended their win streak over Ole Miss to 21 straight. UCLA dominated Wisconsin 80-60 to secure its first outright Big Ten regular season championship in program history. The Bruins improved to 27-1 overall and remain unbeaten in conference play. And number 12 TCU stormed back from a 13-point fourth quarter deficit to beat Iowa State 80-73. The Horned Frogs now sit alone atop the Big 12 standings and are 1 win away from clinching another regular season conference crown. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
This episode also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience, you can go through it all. So if you're looking at the NBA standings and saying, I know who's coming out of the East. I know who's coming out of the West. You go place a futures bet. You apply the profit boost, and then you are automatically entered. Not only can your pick cash, but it can also send you to the finals. Put your knowledge to the test with FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future. Get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Rolling along here in our Locked On Big Ten squad, something that has popped up more than a few times is the way that some teams, more than others, Indiana, Penn State, Washington, sorry, let's clear my throat there, don't put a Power 4 team on the non-conference schedule. Why? Well, because they don't have to. And Indiana just won the national championship, well, for 2 years and the foreseeable future, even after Kurt Signetti answered my question and caused a firestorm with the shot he took at the SEC last year at Media Days. After all that, I do have to admit, Goins and Craig's kind of baller that he did that, took all that blowback, and then went and beat everybody that he played. That was pretty good, not going to lie. But, Trent, I want to start with you. You've got an annual matchup with Iowa State in the Cy-Hawk game. I think that's great, and everybody should have a game like that every single year. Would you ever support Iowa removing that from their schedule to give them another probably guaranteed win?
So I've been actually a long-time proponent of that, and something to maybe keep in the back of your mind, that contract is coming to an end. There's only 2 more games left on the current contract, and it doesn't sound like they are very close to extending that contract at this point in time. I just like the variety of it. Now, with the additions of all the West Coast schools, it does spice things up a little bit. If you're somebody who likes to travel as a fan, you get that opportunity now. You can go to LA every couple of years. I was making their way out to Seattle this season. So you do get variety if you're one of those fans. And that's something that I missed in the past, where it'd be a game against an FCS team, Iowa State, and a MAC game. And that's what you got year after year. I would like to personally see some variety, but at minimum, yes, everybody, can we please, across the board, 9 conference games, 1 Power 4 game, and we can all move on from there. And if Notre Dame can't get there because they can't get enough, sorry, you're out of the playoff.
I'm with you, Trent. Isaiah, what do you think? You like this home and home with Oklahoma, or would you rather play maybe, I don't know, Eastern Michigan in Germany or something?
First, I'm a little upset at Trent because he stole the wind out of my sails because I wanted to call Notre Dame cowards. I just wanted to throw that out there.
You can still do so. It's okay.
Yeah, we're not against that at all on the show.
Yeah.
That could be repeated many times.
Listen, my listeners do not like the stance that I have, and that's give me as many big games as possible. I do not care about like, oh well, yeah, you won all your non-conference. Well, great, yeah, you just went out and beat Eastern Tennessee State Tech. Like, who cares about that? Like,
good school,
give
man.
me the big game. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it makes the schedule tougher. And if you can't beat those big teams, guess what? You're not going to probably generally win the national championship anyway. So give me as many big games as you possibly can, because it's a heck of a lot more fun to go down to Norman last year or host Texas 2 years ago than it is to see Michigan beat East Tennessee, Western Canada of Hawaii.
I like that. I like that combo there. I think Roman is this close to advocating for Washington playing Eastern West Canada of Hawaii.
Tech.
See, this is like I'm at the place where it would be more fun to see some of these games on the schedule, because Spencer will always take this time to call out Washington as neutral arbiter of college football as he is. When this is when I will take the time to remind people that Washington has had some of those games on their schedule, where the most recent one was supposed to be a home and home with Ohio State. That
you didn't have to say that at all. You could have kept it to yourself.
Yeah, but see, then I have to hear it from Spencer, and
good point.
that's just I don't want to go down that.
Too bad.
No, it's really just the only person suffering here is me. But
Average
it's one of those
Washington
things where,
experience.
yeah, exactly.
Average
But then down the road a little bit,
suffering.
Tennessee is on the schedule for 2029, 2030. But this is just one of those situations where I would like to see Washington play a Power 4 team every year. I'm with Isaiah as many big games as possible. That's awesome. I love to see that sort of stuff. And I'd like to see this rivalry with Washington State continue after the end of the 2028 season, when that one is up as well. But it's just one of those things where if you're not in a situation where you have to do it, I'm not going to fault anyone at the same point for not doing so.
Yeah, the logic is very clear. I'd like to point out, Roman, for all the Husky fans listening or watching that hate my guts, they might hate them anyway, whether I say this or not, but who knows? I'll take a shot in the dark. I dunk on Seiko and Goins teams all the time for this very same thing, because Indiana was just the greatest story in college football history, perhaps, and no one's going to watch them until, mid-October? Craig, is that the first time they play a meaningful game?
Well, yeah, after the nice, easy 3-0 start against Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State, I will point out.
Hey, Kennesaw State, reigning Conference USA champs. Go Owls.
See? Quality win. If that were basketball, that'd be a quad one win right there.
It would be quad 2 at best.
Let's not forget that 6 of Indiana's final 12 games were against ranked teams. I mean, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon twice, Miami, Iowa was ranked. So, look, they played a gauntlet in the second half, and they still beat everybody because they were that good. But, yeah, as a football fan, I wouldn't mind squeaking in a big game early in September to get you fired up to get the season started.
Yeah, Jay, notice how I'm never dunking on your team, because you guys have got it figured out. Texas last year at home, Texas this year on the road. Why can't everybody be that way, Jay?
I don't know, and they should be. I'm all for having one power conference, non-conference game every single year. And honestly, I would go a step further. I'm a big fan of the FBS being two different divisions. Have your group of 5 at one level, and then your power conference at one level, and then they don't play each other at all. They shouldn't play each other. I mean, there's no reason why Even Indiana playing Indiana State, it's an FCS school. They shouldn't play them. There's no reason why that should be on the schedule. I understand the check that the school is going to get that's going to help the athletic department. I don't care about that. It's a waste of time. You should only play teams at your level. I say it all the time. You don't go to a professional level and see NBA teams playing G League teams. That'd be dumb. It'd be stupid. But in college football, we're comfortable playing teams at different levels because, it's what we've always done. We can change things. We've changed things with money, change stuff with the portal. You can also change with the schedule and change things with the format of the FBS and just play everybody at your level. CBS would love it. Fox would love it. You would get better games on your networks every single weekend.
That's true. I think one thing you missed in there, Jay, is there is actually a different level that gets played. I mean, teams are playing the Kings in the NBA right now.
I was going to say that.
So, yeah, well, I'm hosting the show and you're not, so too bad. But here's another perpetrator of this atrocity. Zach Seiko's Nittany Lions.
How you doing?
Yikes. Maybe if you'd have tuned up against a real team last year, you would have beaten Oregon in double overtime. Maybe not.
Maybe. Indiana didn't have that problem, so I will attach my defense
but they
to-
played Big Ten teams before they played Oregon.
They beat Oregon twice, so I'm going to attach to.
Yes, thank you for the reminder. I'd forgotten.
I'll use Jacob as defense right now. I'm in favor of everyone. So everyone wants more big games on the schedule. Then may I introduce you to the future 2014 playoff, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh gosh!
See, it's like the meme, right? So yeah, when I say 2014 playoff, everyone is absolutely not. No way. But I'm in favor of 10 Big Ten games, 10 Big Ten conference games. Why go around and try to, because that's what the playoffs for, right? To eventually meet those teams across the country and everything. I'm more for focusing on the Big Ten and creating some more rivalries, because there shouldn't be teams that Penn State is not playing this season. Somehow there's 9 Big Ten games and they're not playing Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, and it makes no sense to me. So I'm in favor of one more conference game.
Yeah, Seiko literally just said that Penn State is a paper tiger this year. Call them the Patriots of the Big Ten this year. That's what they are. Oh, sorry, Roman. Did I say that out loud? My bad. My bad. All right, Goins. Anyway, do you have an idea of who you would like Indiana to play in the non-conference? Because I think Indiana-Georgia would be great.
I mean, any of those big teams at this point. And what's unfortunate about it is I agree with everybody here that I want the bigger games on the schedule, but Indiana winning a national championship was the absolute worst case scenario for this particular topic, because now their defense is, well, yeah, we're never going to change. And here's what the problem is, too, for next year's Indiana football schedule. People are going to complain about the difficulty of it until halfway through October, because the first 3 Big Ten games are Northwestern, Rutgers, and Nebraska. So we're going to get yelled at anyway about the difficulty of the schedule because of the bottom portion of the Big Ten. I agree. I think an expanded college football playoff will eliminate those games against the Hawaiian, Canadian teams or whatever, right? I think I don't like expanded playoffs. I'm anti-expansionist. But it will eliminate games against Howard and North Texas, because I agree with Jay. It should not be Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan's job to fund the smaller schools, because that's just how we've always done it. I understand there's a formula there, but just because it's always been that way doesn't mean that's how we should continue doing things.
I just think everybody should have one. Just one. You don't have to expand the playoff. 24. Ugh. I hate that even got mentioned.
Why not 48?
On this show. Craig and Jacob, should we just take away Indiana's national championship? The answer is obviously yes. Okay, stop talking. I'm going to ad read now. First, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. The biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. Being there live for something like that is bucket list stuff. The hard part is always actually getting tickets. Long queues, prices jumping around, and surprise fees at checkout. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay. period. I've used Game Time, and I know that is indeed the case. And let me tell you, it is a game changer. No stress, no guesswork, just a smooth experience from start to finish. That's what you want during the busiest part of the season. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And it is time for the 5-Hour Energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. Flavors are ready. I've got my number one pick for the 5-Hour Energy flavor draft. I'm a strawberry watermelon stan. Big fan. Number one on the big board. Without question. My sleeper, sour apple. I'm a huge sour flavor type of guy. Those are the prospects that you've got to know about. And there are a bunch of other flavors that you can check out as well. So if you need a little boost throughout the day that tastes great and has no sugar, 5-Hour Energy is the way to go. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots available at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Check them out at 5hourenergy.com. All right, Craig, should we just take Indiana's national championship away since one guy was maybe ineligible? You know. So,
no, sir, we should not. For those that don't know,
I think we should. Let's do it. Let's let everyone have all the excuses in the world to try and take 2 national championships away from the Big Ten. Like, that's got to be the SEC's next move, right?
Oh, that is their next move. In a nutshell, for those that don't know, Lewis Moore sued for the right to play an extra year of eligibility. The courts granted it to him in January. The NCAA, or in September, he played the whole season, all 16 games, including the national championship. The NCAA says, well, the court may have said that, but we didn't. And so they filed a brief that says that we want this lawsuit to continue. Even Lewis Moore has already played. He's on to the NFL draft. Lewis Moore and his lawyers did waive the injunction that allowed him to play because he didn't care. He didn't want to continue with this court case. He's going to the NFL. The NCAA says that opens up the door for us to keep this case going. We want the authority to allow on eligibility rules. That also keeps giving us the power to go ahead and take wins away and championships away. So they're going to continue. I don't think the NCAA's goal is to take anything away from Indiana. I think they just want to preserve their right. They want the next level of the courts to say they still have this power because they're losing all of their power. So we'll see how this plays. Also, fun fact here, the NCAA doesn't have any power over the playoffs. So even if they took Indiana's wins away, the most they could take away are 12. Indiana would still be a 4-12 national champion, worst case scenario. I don't think it's going to happen. For more, check out my Locked On Big Ten podcast from Monday for a second.
Everybody's already seen it. Everyone's gotten there. I want to bring in our foremost number one fan of all things NCAA, Isaiah Hull of Locked On Wolverines. Would you care to weigh in on the present situation?
Listen, I love all things NCAA. I almost wear my NCAA hat. We have a
Rob Lowe edition.
What's that?
Yeah. Is that the Rob Lowe edition? Like
yeah, Rob Lowe edition. It's and we had one of the other NCAA's big fans on the show all season, and that was Connor Stallions. You mentioned that the NCAA can't take away the championship. I wish Jay was still here because his audience needs to know that, because that was the whole, the hammer's coming any second. It's coming any second. And I never heard anyone even mentioning this idea of Indiana cheating, as we say it on my show, until Indiana beat Ohio State. Why do you think that is? That's all I got. NCAA is pointless. It's stupid. It's absolutely absurd. They're like you said, trying to cling to power with every single breath that it has, as raspy and withdrawn as it might be. It's a dying organization. We need to get rid of it, and we need the squad to actually no, because I've heard what you guys say about Michigan when I'm not here. So never mind. Some other governing body.
Why do we make these shows free and available on all platforms? What are we thinking? Yeah. Dang it.
I want to make it clear, too. Like Indiana's not the only team.
Sure, Goins, go ahead.
And all of this, it's just the one at the highlight at the top, because they won the national championship, right? The NCAA was like, yeah, we're going to take wins away from anybody, from any player that participated that we deem ineligible. And it's like, really? You're going to sit through and pander through all of that and what you claim was ineligible versus what the court said or the school said? It's just ridiculous, man. And to be honest, I can't believe that we're 2 months into the year 2026 and the NCAA still exists. I really thought they would be done by this point. I thought they would be down, burned to the ground, and people have moved on, because I still think the big schools at the top are going to tell them to kick rocks at some point. I just can't believe they haven't done it already.
Roman, thoughts?
Jacob took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to ask, can we as a society just stop acknowledging the NCAA at this point? Because this is what they're going to focus on when there are so many other issues that the power that they do hold at this point. They could go out there and try to regulate NIL. They could go out there and try to, Spencer, to appease you here, try to make everybody play a Power 4 team. They could make all of those things happen, but they don't. And now they're like, oh, this guy who wants to keep playing college football for one reason or another, I can't remember the specifics of the situation. He wants to keep going. No. We're going to do that. And hey, we're going to threaten your national championship because of this one guy. If that, one guy was something different, Mark's not here, so I was going to take a USC shot, but we don't have to go down that road. It's just,
I can replicate it really easily. Here, let me go to my computer mic, and then I'll just yell about 2004.
See, I was going to yell about 2004, but no, it's just one of those things where they could fix these much more important issues, but no, because one guy played in all 16 games, you have to. I can't. I'm tired of this.
Roman's team's not even involved. He's fired up.
Roman can't even put his thoughts together.
I'm exhausted.
He's so fired up. Seiko, one question to wrap today's show: if the NCAA goes away, would you vote for me to be commissioner of college football?
I will say this. I'll take the politician route. But what Jacob and Roman were saying about why does the NCAA exist and stuff.
This is a lot of words to get to yes.
I would consider writing you in. I would vote Craig. I would vote for Craig. Do you want the job? Craig, do you want the job?
Oh, I could fix college football.
Okay. The NCAA stops existing when the Big Ten says it doesn't exist anymore. That's really what it is.
Seiko, that felt like age bias.
I was going to say it's because Craig is more experienced.
Why are we
than
just passing
personally?
over that the Big Ten could end the NCAA? Why are we just overlooking that?
I love that personally. I just wanted to take a shot at Spencer.
Look at what I actually came back to this show.
Our conference allows the NCAA to exist. It allows it to exist. They hold all the cards. If they said, "Hey, we're walking away," we talk about how Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan could that they fund the rest of the Big Ten. How about the entire Big Ten funds the NCAA? Big Ten football.
They're funded
out, Seiko. Did you see Tony Petitti and how much he just bent? I'm not even going to get into it. We know how that ends. They're not doing it. They love Tony Petitti loves the NCAA.
Well, they run March Madness, so there's that, which
that
certainly no one could run without the NCAA. That's just.
And they do such a good job too. They do such a fantastic job.
Well, it is kind of the best in their defense. Like that's
the one thing they do.
It's like the what? Yeah,
Spencer, you could run March Madness, and it would go off without a hitch.
I could. I could. Goins, pipe
Oregon
down.
would be a number 1 seed.
Yeah, this Oregon team, I'd be making the case. Well, you see, they're only 5.5-point dogs against Wisconsin at home. Only. That means Vegas knows they're actually a good team.
They'd be the first and only underdog against a 16 seed.
Waylon would go off. Anyway, Isaiah Hall, Locked On Wolverines, Roman Tomashoff, Locked On Huskies, Craig Sheeman, Locked On Big Ten, Zach Seiko, Locked On Nittany Lions, and we had Trent Condon of Locked On Hawkeyes. That's not who Jacob Goins is. I don't know where the hell my mind was going with that one. We had Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes as well. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On All Over the Place. Appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you next time, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.